Hello, Nigerians. Good evening, and, and good afternoon, and good morning, depending on wherever you are around the globe. This evening, we are back. This is the first working day of the week, and we are more on official issues on the happenings in Nigeria. Now, we know that the issue of the CSU certificate forgery saga is a very big information that we are still peeling it like onions, layer upon layer upon layer. When it came, the deposition and the files released by CSU came out. We first of all took the area that has to do with Atiku's appeal to the Supreme Court to establish that indeed he has a case that the Chicago State University confirmed in their transcript that the so-called INEC diploma, which is the certificate submitted to INEC, was not issued by them. We have discussed it over and over, and it appeared in Atiku's appeal that was submitted to the Supreme Court. However, there are more to that transcript, the position transcript. There are a whole lot of information that even if you have 3 straight hours, you cannot exhaust all of them. More facts are emerging. As you read line by line, you keep seeing something and you feel like, are you serious? Did this lawyer actually say this thing? Did this registrar actually say this thing? And so some of those things are part of what we're going to be bringing to our knowledge this night, and other input of some other people. Of course, we do know that this thing did not start today. This is a scheme that started for almost more than 45 years now. And as far back as 1999 to 2003, somebody like Gani Fawemi, late Gani Fawemi, took up this case. He saw it. But I think that the challenge Gani had then was because the way information can be disseminated as far back as 1999, it's not the same thing we're enjoying today. There was no Twitter, there was no X, there was no, the free movement of information on YouTube and what have you. And it looked as if the man did not know what he was doing. But I am so thankful to Atiku in that on the 5th day of October 2023 was actually the day it was the anniversary of the year that Gani started this journey. So I pray that what Gani started will bear fruit. But we're going to move on to that place as we reveal this other, what people may call bombshell revelation and what have you. We move on to see how they have now opened the central bank by these guys. And they are now plundering the resources of Nigeria to settle those people that they use to rig election. The money they use to, the people that help them rig election, you will see how the scheme that they are using already to settle them, to tell them, thank you for job well done, continue to plunder Nigeria, get ready to loot again, and get ready to rig again. And we're also going to move on and conclude, if we don't have more other things that will make us talk and drag it this night, but we'll move on to show us how the so-called politicians care for us, while we are hurting, while we are in pain, how they are showing us that they are in pain. And hopefully show us a sample of a politician in Nigeria, in Africa, who is a true patriot, a man, I would say that he conducts himself like Peter Obi in politics. And so we run this evening. From where do we start? I think we should start with this certificate thing. It's not over yet. There's a lot. Yeah. Good. Go ahead.
So we want to look at this tweet. Somebody tweeted this and was like trying to expose some of the things that people are not talking about. This deposition has a lot of information, but most of us have not really taken our time to go through it. So we want to expose some of those things that Nigerians are yet to know about this deposition. So looking at what I have here on my screen, you can see this person said that the sitting president never collected a diploma from the CSU. So Doc, I want you to analyze the information here so that our viewers will get to understand why this text written in red is there.
I'm trying to read. Can you read it from your end?
Okay. It says, but if someone graduated from CSU in 1979, you don't have a copy of that 1999 diploma, correct? Then Mr.
Okay, no.
Henderson.
Yes, I've seen it. Sorry, forgive me. It says, but if someone graduated from CSU in 1979, you don't have a copy of that 1979 diploma, correct? Mr. Henderson, this is Mr. Henderson, objection, asked and answered. Now, that was a lawyer trying to intercept whoever asked the question. The witness now says, the only event we have a copy of a diploma is that the student didn't pick it up by Miss Liu. So, do you keep documents that were reordered only if they are not picked up? Answer, correct. So, why do you have the June 27 diploma in your file? Answer, while the university doesn't know that for certain, my speculation would be that it was not picked up. Does that serve? Do you want me to explain now?
Yeah, please, before we go to the next slide.
Now, Chicago State University is trying to say here, the certificate is with us. We have it in our file because the owner never picked it up. And that is the truth. If you look at that document that was downloaded and shared online that night, even before the deposition of the next day, one of those documents was a place where it was said that English 222 needs to be written as part of entry, as part of admission requirements. There is no university in the world whereby if you did not clear your courses, you can graduate. It doesn't happen. There is also no record in that files that was downloaded where it showed that the student in question wrote that English 222. Furthermore, before Chicago State University, even if they use third party, the certificates that third party can reissue must be certificates that have gone out of the registry. That is, it's like the stencil is already produced. If you remember those old days of printing when they have stencil, you can take the stencil. If you go to a place where they prepare something in a stencil, you go to all those typists. The information that is typed on the stencil must be the information of the author. But the stencil can be taken to any business center to replicate the what? The quantity. Or if you go to those people who use the printing machine, they call cog and all those things, there is a plate, they call it a plate. That plate can be taken to any printing press, fix it there and run it. Meaning there is no institution that can authorize anybody to issue any document, a copy of a document that they themselves have not first of all had the original one. So what this transcript here is trying to say, which is part, I'm surprised, okay, maybe because of the person who tweeted it, could have shown the page and we refer to the page. You see, the person is highlighting it. And I am glad that all of us have this. We've sent it as a link. We sent the whole transcript deposition as a link so that everybody can go and read. Chicago State University is saying that name never even in the first place collected the certificate. That is why they have it there. That is why when Enahoreba asked, they were able to give now a copy. And remember again, for whosoever that is jumping around saying, third party gave me, if third party can give the owner of the certificate a certificate, why did Chicago State University not give someone who is not the owner of a certificate a copy? Enahoroeba is not the owner. Enahoroeba came there with a court document, a subpoena, and they were able to see the information in their record. So the question we ask and we keep asking is this: how come the copy that the university themselves gave to a lawyer differed from the one the supposed owner himself gave to INEC? This case has been long drawn. It's a settled issue.
So, Doc, what you are saying is that the university never issued him any certificate in the first instance.
Has issued, or is it issued? Issued means released, like we would go to in our registrar's office in Nigeria, in our university, say, original copy collected by me. Yes, the university never issued. There was never a time original copy was collected. There is nowhere in the world, including up to today with the digital this thing, you have to confirm that you have received your certificate. It has to be on record.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be on
record. A vendor can only help you make a fresh certificate only if you had ever collected the original.
Exactly. So that when, let me put it this way, I bought a beautiful paper that I used to reprint, quote and unquote, from my colored printer, the certificate for my PhD. The original given to me with the seal of the university. You know, that seal is still there. But when I ran the photocopy, so that if there is like a place they say bring photocopy, I don't want to see, I just send it like that, unless they say bring the original. And anytime I have been asked to bring the original of my document, and you know, in Nigeria, we laminate certificates. But you know, in the Western world, if you laminate a certificate, you've destroyed it. You can't laminate a certificate, because you could have done something and laminated it. They want it to be like that. So because I don't want to be carrying it around like that, I just photocopy the dummy. The dummy. But that dummy is a replica of the original. Anytime any authority asks me for the original, I go to a notary public, I use maybe like DHL, register it as a registered mail, and send it to them. So even a child in primary school knows that this issue of, I heard somebody who is APC spokesperson saying that as a third party, you can even redesign your own certificate. Didn't want a lemon or somebody? And I'm like, how could these people think and degenerate themselves like this? There is a news that I saw today. A reverend father in Italy, who is a lecturer in one of the universities in Italy, was writing an article how some of his fellow lecturers came to insult him, that he almost thought it was racism, until he noticed that one of them is also an African and a black person. That they will ask him and say, who is your president? Before he opened his mouth, they will start laughing. And then a lot of things he said in that place that I don't want to say here, so YouTube will not block this channel. But you can imagine the kind of things they told the guy about us and about our leaders.
So let's go to the second slide.
It says here, question. I will rephrase it. So CSU did not issue the INEC diploma to President TINUBU in 1979, correct? Mr. Henderson. Objection. Asked and answered. The witness, no, not in 1979. By Mr. Liu. And CSU did not issue a diploma dated June 27, 1979 to Mr. TINUBU in 1979. Correct? Correct. So what else do we want to hear? That's page 43. Anybody can go to page 43 and see it there. Is it correct? And when people say, oh, BBC say, if you see BBC, anyway, I don't blame them because they had to do what they have to do. But I saw one petition someone wrote to BBC, and BBC replied the person saying, we have verified, and CSU confirmed that so and so person attended. I say, including CSU is talking about attendance. Who is talking about attendance here? We are talking about a certificate, a document that was given. Let me ask you a question. What does it mean that someone was given counterfeit on the street of Lagos? Do you wake up and you see a dollar note that is printed counterfeit, and then you carry your naira and give to the person and say, give me, and then you start crying, oh, na counterfeit, then give me. Is that what happens? No. People were able to ignorantly collect counterfeit because it looks every way like the original. But it is not the original. The document that was given to INEC is a counterfeit of what Chicago State University. Why are we even talking this thing? The Supreme Court of the Federal Republic of Nigeria says that forgery can occur in two ways. Either you modify an existing document or you create an entirely new one. That's Supreme Court. We quoted it here in one of our programs. That diploma, that certificate that is with INEC, Chicago State University said, correct, we did not issue it. In fact, if you read further from page 43 and continue, so they further asked, Mr. Liu further asked that question, this question, where he said, does it mean that the reason why you say that this person attended the university is because the name in you people's record is the name that he has in Nigeria? He said, correct. And then he asked him again, which means you are not certain, you only speculate. Is an assumption.
Assumption.
He said, yes. So Chicago State University actually did not categorically say, we know that this person is our student. They assumed that he is the student because the name he's answering is the name. That is why in David Hunde's own analysis, he said, so if he can find someone who attended a certain university and who is late now, and he can also officially change his name to the person's name and walk up to that university and say, I attended this university and so time. Look at my name and look at it. They will just give it to the person. Does it happen like that? Does it happen?
So Doc, I have a question.
Go ahead.
The first yellow line there said, I'll rephrase it. So CSU did not issue INEC diploma to President TINUBU in 1979, correct? Then the second yellow line said, no, not in 1979.
Yes.
So if not during this time, when?
That's why it says another question. It says, and CSU did not issue a diploma dated June 27, 1979.
That's the one issued to INEC?
Yes.
Okay.
To TINUBU in 1979. Correct? Yes, correct.
So I just want us to take it in a way that everybody will be carried along. So this last three yellow lines just answers the question that everybody is asking.
Okay.
CSU is saying that they never issued the diploma that has this date, and this was what he submitted to INEC.
Yes.
Okay.
And again, there's even another thing that is not mentioned here. There are 3 birth dates that are conflicting: 1955, 1952, 1954. Nobody's mentioning it. If you look at the dates on the CSU document, look at the dates on the the other one that's come from Richard Dale College, which is Northwest College, and then the dates on the birth certificate, even the dates that have been on different newspapers, it keeps conflicting. And as I also said, nobody is even asking the question of what of that particular certificate from a secondary school that is not existing. That certificate that was issued by a secondary school that existed 4 years after the secondary school, that existed 4 years before the secondary school was founded. APC don't want us to talk about it.
Yeah, so
the thing
this
is,
one,
go ahead.
No, you can finish up.
Okay, this is part. This is page 35 and 36.
Okay. This is just to like affirm that it is not even the job of a third-party vendor, because the APC claims that they got it from them and they can design it to their own taste and all that. But the information here is countering that. So, Doc, without me wasting much time here, I want us to go to the video that I want to analyze for tonight.
Yes. It says here, we will do that. We would not process that diploma if it was not from the student. Every time, we would verify it is the student who is requesting. So if you continue forward, as I said, you will come to the point where they now ask, so how did you confirm that this person is the student? He said, because we have the name in our record, the initials, the first name, the middle name, and the last name is exactly as the person. So that's all, yes, which means it's an assumption. They said yes. To be honest, just like David Hunde used to complain, whenever we talk, he said to me, the problem of Nigeria is that they just want to be spoon-fed. They don't want to read. All these things these people are using to do PR, all this nonsense they are talking on different media stations, is simply because Nigerians have refused to pick this document and read. And it also surprises me that even the media houses that have this document cannot come and say, hey, hold on, can you read this? How do you interpret this? Everything looks like showbiz. Wear suits, do a lot of opening music and what have you, and just collect advertisement and then move on. Let's go.
3. TINUBU did not mention primary school and the secondary school he attended. But in 1999, he told us that he attended St. Paul's Children Home School and Government College. Was that not a red flag?
Of course, that is clear enough that there are some gaps, there are inconsistencies, there are questions to answer. You are not allowed to make certain claims at one time, and then you drop it, and you expect people not to cry foul. No, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be.
Atiku celebrated Gani Fawemi yesterday when he was in that international press conference. Is that good news?
I don't see it as good news, because Atiku was vice president, and was a close pal of Bola Ahmed Tinubu when Chief Gani Fawemi was challenging the credentials of Bola Ahmed Tinubu in 1999. He was supporting him then. I recall that in the course of those struggles, the life of Chief Gani Fawemi was almost snuffed out. within the premises of the High Court in Lagos, when he was challenging Bola Ahmed Tinubu over his claims of the academic qualifications, his Pajero Jeep was smashed. Chief Faemi was just lucky he was not sitting at that side where they threw heavy stone that smashed the Pajero. And his driver was also smart enough, to escape those who wanted to kill him. And this is the challenge. When people who have questions to answer are in position of power, we could be seeing strange attacks, strange disappearances, strange killings, even strange policies being dictated by the IMF and World Bank being imposed on our people, like the removal of fuel subsidy, for example, that has thrown this country into money, into confusion, into agony. Since President Bola Ahmed Tinubu was sworn in and he made the pronouncement, fuel subsidy is gone.
You were close to Gani Fawehinmi. If he were alive today, what would he be saying?
If he were alive today, and if he still had the strength, Chief Gani Fawehinmi would still be in the streets, protesting and fighting. He had fought the battle up to the Supreme Court. So there's no way he could still institute a legal action over an issue that the Supreme Court are determined that the police should investigate, should try him, should investigate him at their own time. Up till now.
So please, I want us to interrupt this very with the level of information we have today, on these keys. Do you think the Supreme Court wants to turn its eyes away from what the reality is?
I'll answer your question with what we discussed yesterday, part of what we discussed yesterday. During our show yesterday, we did talk about $422,000 paid for hotel bill only. That was an error. That was an additional $84,000 to it, bringing it a total of $506,820 that was spent for less than a week on hotel bill in New York for the president and his aides. Much further, which we also need to talk, we will be touching today. 360 members of the National Assembly appropriated for themselves a Prado Jeep worth 160 million each. 160 million naira each. These people don't care. And our judges, if they are more interested in having their own sons or daughters or nephews or nieces to succeed them as judges, they could sacrifice the country by way of this unjust judgment in order to make sure that their children succeed them. So when that sense of morality, that burden, that conscience has been seared, there is absolutely nothing people cannot do. So if you ask me, a judge who have this abundant information that has crawled into their chamber, into their courts, because not everything that is in this CSU scandal that is qualified to enter that court is immaterial. What is the substance of the case is the document given to INEC was not issued by CSU. That's the only case there. It's a clear-cut prima facie situation. However, that judge who believes in justice, we can walk home and know that he will rule in accordance to the law. But when a judge chose to, listen, a judge can find reason for any judgment he delivers. Because a judge is like a carpenter. He knows how to take a wood, a plank, and convert that wood into a mug for you to drink your tea, or into a plate for you to serve your cola, or into a stool for you to have as a chair, or as something that you can use, a sculpture that you can hang on the wall. That is where the term technicality, where it comes from. They can always find technicality to knock it out and say it with verbose and tell you to maybe go to the court of heaven. So, all I
Now,
can say is,
since 1999, they have not told us they have carried out any investigation. And having been president, we may as well forget it that he will ever be investigated over those claims, even after leaving office as president.
Now, let's look at the point. Has TINUBU committed forgery by submitting a certificate that did not emanate from Chicago State University?
Well, I would not. The Chicago State University has not said categorically that he has committed forgery. A criminal allegation the standard of proof is beyond reasonable doubt. It is the court that will have to make that pronouncement. And that was what Chief Ganifa Emi was trying to say. Calling on the security agencies, the police in particular, to investigate. And depending on their findings, to now put him on trial.
Can I come in here?
So an individual is not in a...
Can I come? I hope we understand where this man is going. The case of perjury and fraud is a different ball game. Do you understand? In one of the cases that was decided by the appeal court, they did say it clearly that someone can actually forge something on your behalf. All right? They said it, that the claim of crime having been committed, that you can prove that you did not commit this crime. But that does not mean that that crime another person committed, that is not what you are parading. So the issue of charging you to court for forgery is different from submitting a document that was not issued. For instance, if I went to a business center with the original of my certificate, I went to that place with the original of my certificate, business center, and for some reason, something happened there, and it was modeled up, and something that is not a photocopy of my certificate was given me, and I tendered it. Somebody can pin it on it and say, this is not your own. But that does not mean that I have forged what is not my own. But the fact is that what you submitted is not a replica of your own. And when, based on what this person is saying, that the police should investigate, what is it that police is supposed to investigate to establish that there is a crime? By going to the producer and the producer saying, yes, this is us or not us. So when we talk about categorically, Chicago State University has said, we know that this name existed. We know that there is a certificate issued in this name. But this particular one, they gave a tag. They gave a tag of, what do you call it again? INEC diploma. Did not emanate from us. End of investigation. Period. And cases that have been decided in Nigeria, whereby people have lost their seats, there was no further investigation when the issuer have testified. Even in the Supreme Court judgment that we have posted here once again, the Supreme Court says the only way to establish that a document that was submitted somewhere is original is by the issuer coming to testify it is from us or not from us, period.
And Chicago State University has said that they never issued the one that was given to INEC. And I think
mean, it's overflogged issue, but I think
Yeah.
we have overflogged this. We have quite overflogged it.
let's
You get.
continue with it.
I doubt if we're going
Position
to
to
be
say
able to continue because
he has committed forgery or not. But everything suggests the allegation that forgery may be involved, particularly when he had made certain claims about having attended certain institutions, government college, Ibadan, the other institution, primary school, and those claims are now dropped. And University of Chicago, his present claim is, his present claim is Chicago State University. Previously, it was University, of Chicago. These, and then the contradictions in the documents, contradictions in the age, three claims around age, contradictions about gender.
Excuse me. I hope you know that this man is beginning to discuss a different thing altogether. He's no longer. What the question he was asked is, can he be prosecuted for forgery? Has he forged anything? This is beyond the remit of the appeal submitted at the Supreme Court. The appeal submitted at the Supreme Court stands and finishes the moment that transcript was said. That did not emanate from us. But that's why we said in our introduction, there is more to the one that has gone to the Supreme Court. Because the certificate that read 1970, issued by a school that was founded 1974, is another clear case of forgery. There's no need. It's obvious. It's obvious. It's as simple as that. Well, I don't know. It's like I'm going to get off now. I'm getting a heat for another meeting I am going to be involved in 4 minutes' time. What do? We continue with other sections of our discussion tomorrow, because I have only 4 minutes now to be on air.
Yeah, we can do the other ones tomorrow. Let's just finish up with this.
Okay.
Why TINUBU? Why all this around one man?
Well, ordinarily, in a sane society, a body, just like the INEC had the powers in the past, will have been empowered to ensure that individuals who have this kind of records are confronted with them, and all the body should also be empowered to say, no, you, on the basis of this. But even the Constitution is clear enough. Section 137, 1J, forgery, it should be a ground for disqualification. Though no court has pronounced that he has committed forgery, but the contradictions are sufficient in themselves to give anybody some concern. And for me, I would not have dared to say I want to contest public office if I had found myself in such a situation.
So in this
because
case,
his circumstances of his birth, for example, he didn't determine the circumstances of his birth, the circumstances of his education. We never knew the challenges he was facing. But given those challenges, they are sufficient to say no. Because the leader of a country ought to give an example on the basis of positive ethics.
Okay. Thank you, people. I'm going to run now. If you thank you, we'll see you again tomorrow, please.
Yeah, Doc, thank you very much
for
your contributions. Good night to you. Yeah, so guys, we've heard what this man said. And honestly, I agree with what he said. Because possibly he couldn't have, done away with all these things. There wasn't any way he could brush them by the side for him to come out to vie for this position. The only thing he would have done was to just suspend this desire to become the president. Because it was just this desire that pushed him despite all these controversies, because all these things existed before now. So he knew he had these challenges, but that urge to become the president, that ego to become the president was one of the things that was like pushing him, and he didn't have any option than to go to vie for this position. So you can see, no doubt the APC will be regretting, because they know they have other people that would have been fit to contest. But because of somebody's personal ego and personal ambition to become the president of Nigeria, look at what is costing them at the moment. And in case you don't know, there is this case of the governorship candidate from Bayelsa State. I think I streamed a video on that during the day, that somebody wants to vie for such a position, and he has a very bad past. And he came out to the television, he was like, yes, I was once in jail, and there is this accusation that he even broke jail, and a lot of things. Honest, I feel so ashamed for the APC, because they just bring out people to vie position without checking their record. And sometimes, even if they know the kind of record or the kind of past that these people have, they tend not to value the citizens, Nigerians, because if they have any value for us, they would think and say, what if Nigerians should start asking questions? How are we going to defend all this? But you know, they don't take us for anything. That is why they just do their things the way they want to do it, and they get away with it. So that brings me to a video that Dr. Etel wanted to analyze before now, though he has left because he has another meeting to attend, that Wike, who is now the FCT minister, has been given a kind of a super hand to oversee the finance of Abuja, which is the FCT. So he was like when we were analyzing it, we're saying that, does it mean that he's been compensated for the role he played? Or how come this kind of, will I say, free hand given to him to manage the finance of the FCT? So I'm going to be playing that video so that we'll listen to it and then we'll close with that.
Has removed the Federal Capital Territory Administration out of the Treasury single account. This move is expected to pave the way for enhanced progress and growth of the FCTA under the leadership of Nyesom Wike, and give him more control over finances. The move, which allows Wike greater financial autonomy of the FCT, was announced at a news conference on Friday in Abuja. The TSA, a federal government policy that requires all government revenue to be deposited into a single account, was introduced in 2015 to improve transparency and accountability in government finances. Kunle Adegoke, SAN, discusses the reform being carried out by the TINUBU administration in FCT through removing the territory from TSA and the establishment of an FCT Civil Service Commission, and what impact it will make on improving governance in the territory. Good afternoon, Mr. Adegoke.
Good afternoon.
Well, thank you for being here. Just wondering, do you think it was essential, the removal of the FCT from the Treasury single account? Was it really a crucial move to enable the FCT to carry out developmental projects and provide infrastructure from your perspective?
Thank you very much. A critical assessment of the policy of the present administration with respect to the Federal Capital Territory is to ensure that the FCT is able to function effectively as to be able to make the capital a place presentable to the entire world as a community occupied by not only civilized people, but by progressive people. And to this extent, it is important that everything should be done to make sure that the Federal Capital Territory regains the prestige that the designers of the Capital Territory actually had in mind when it was created. And it is to ensure this, that financial autonomy, because I'll characterize this as a form of financial autonomy, is being guaranteed by the federal government so as to make sure that the Federal Capital Territory does not fall into the states that Lagos State eventually found itself under the previous regimes. You will agree with me that the designers, the original ideas of what Lagos should look like eventually got lost as a result of over-centralization of management of the affairs of government, and in the process of which we were not able to keep the design, the original master plan of Lagos under strict implementation. But with what we are having right now, with respect to the Federal Capital Territory, the federal government is doing everything to ensure, under the present administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to ensure that the Federal Capital Territory will not fall into the crisis that Lagos eventually found itself, by which its original master plan was eventually distorted. In order to be able to critically achieve this, the master plan of Abuja must be carefully and strictly preserved. And to be able to achieve this, it requires some capital-intensive efforts to make sure that we are able to achieve this goal. It's along this line that the government has decided that the Federal Capital Territory be removed from the Treasury single account to pave way for a good measure of financial autonomy for the.
Yeah, so guys, we've gotten the information. Abuja, the finance that, whatever that is being generated from Abuja, Wike is to spearhead and control everything. But I don't think this is what we want at this time, because we are in a critical time. We really need money. Nigeria is going bankrupt. And you can imagine that this is one of the states that generates enough revenue for the country. And now you want to separate it from this treasury single account, and you give it under the control of one man. I mean, the person of Wike, who is the minister of the FCT. If I'm led to say my mind, I will say that this is not the ideal time, assuming what they claim is the reason for which they are doing this is true. That there are so many projects to embark on. They want to ensure that the master plan for Abuja is followed and maintained and sustained, and all that. Yes, it's good, so that, because whosoever is talking about Nigeria from any part of the world want to look at the state capital, and they want to look at Abuja or Lagos. It's good we present these two cities, in a unique way. But bringing whatever is being generated from Abuja under the control of one man, I don't really think that's a good decision. Moreover, we are in a very critical time when we are supposed to gather everything we are making from all nooks and crannies and bring them together. Now we are rather splitting them apart. I don't really think this is a good decision. And some people are like, wow, why should it be under the leadership of Wike? Why all this at this time? Is there any agenda behind this that the people are not seeing? Anyway, time will tell. We'll just keep watching to see how this administration keep running Nigeria. Don't forget that the National Assembly has been accused of buying SUVs that cost 160 million naira for each of them at such a critical time as the one we are in now. Nigerians are hungry. Look at Naira. Naira is falling every day. And when you listen to that video that I streamed before now, Rufai was talking. He said the worst part of all this is that the money that will be used to purchase these vehicles are being sent to other countries, like he mentioned Japan. They will go to Japan and invest in their own economy with this huge amount of money. And even they are even buying these cars from local producers, it would have been understandable to a certain level. And don't forget that the 9th Assembly bought their own. Now the 10th Assembly is coming to buy theirs without them telling us where the old ones that were bought by the 9th Assembly are. We don't know where those cars are. they are just going to purchase new ones. Does it mean they sold those ones, or the people that were in their National Assembly then when they were leaving, they made away with the other ones? Nobody can tell. So Nigerians, you can see the level of leakages we have in our system, and the masses keep paying. Now, the IMF is telling them, tax the people, tax the people. If you start a small business, you will be paying through your nose. You have to pay taxes, and other people that will come to levy you. By the time you know it, your business will be crumbling. And then coupled with the challenges coming from Forex, exchange rate, Naira is falling. So when you look at the challenges we have in Nigeria, you agree with me that we don't still have passionate leaders. We don't have people with empathy. We don't have people that have concern for the masses and what they go through. You can imagine these people that told us last time that money have been sent in their account or prayer have been sent in their account for them to enjoy their holiday. Now they are talking about buying SUV. The next one, they'll be talking about upon all the allowances they are getting, their salaries, and the Nigerians are the ones suffering, paying the taxes, and they use the taxes just to enjoy themselves without even thinking of you. Imagine using this 160 million for each of the SUVs, investing it in schools, investing this money in our schools, even in our universities. But they don't think about all this. We have out-of-school children all over the states of the Federation. These people do not think. Yes, this is the kind of country we have, and we are just looking forward to a better Nigeria. Honestly, for those who are saying, allow this president to be, allow this government to continue, Peter Obi and Atiku should just withdraw their case, I don't think they have the progress of this country at heart, because we've not gotten it right, and we must fight to get it right. Nigeria is supposed to be bigger and greater than what it is today. Poor leadership is our challenge, and it's still the challenge we are facing today. We are just looking forward to a better Nigeria. So guys, yeah, this is all I have for you tonight. Please do well to like this video so that YouTube can recommend it for more people to watch. And don't forget to support us, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, please. When you click that notification bell, it gives you option. You have to choose all so that you'll be able to see all our updates. And with this, I want to say thank you very much for your presence today. Do well to join us tomorrow. Good night. Bye.